Welcome everybody to uSTADIUM Fantasy Live Week 6, the week to turn around your season or the week to absolutely lock up your playoff spot. Whichever way you're rolling, we are here to help you get there. I'm your host, Chris, and with me, as always, is Stefan, my co-host, the Bersh Bomber himself, Mr. Hot Take. I love to see you on a Sunday morning, brother. How are you doing?
I'm up nice early. Let's let this be known. I'm never up this early. To get me up by 9 o'clock to get ready for this thing by 10. Man, it's a whole thing, but I love doing it. So I'm glad we're back. And if you locked up your fantasy league already, show us. Let me see who's already out there that's kicking ass and taking names.
Kicking some ass. Yeah, I got a couple that I'm 5-0. One that's 10-0. So that's with the
10.
That's with the median, right? With the league median. So there's a league average every week, and not only do you have to win your week-to-week head-to-head matchup, you also have to play to beat that league median, right? So I mean, 10-0. That's 5 weeks head-to-head and 5 weeks of beating the league median. I mean, if I don't lock up a playoff spot now, I mean, what am I? My team's gonna have an epic collapse. As always, we are brought to you guys by the uSTADIUM app. The website is live. It is live for Android. So if you're an Android user, you can hop on the uSTADIUM app, make your takes, get in on the takes. There's a few hot takes right now, fantasy-wise and football-wise, heading into week 6. So make sure you're jumping on there. Like the stream, subscribe to the channel. That always helps us continually to help you guys. And I just want to thank Henry with the graphics through 6 weeks, and our main man, the big splash behind the 1s and 2s, the maestro.
Big trust.
Yeah, exactly. Behind the 1s and 2s, always helping us out. I mean, if it's early for you waking up at 9, think about how early it is for that guy, right?
Yeah.
That guy just don't sleep. I've seen him do multiple 24-hour live streams. I mean, he's always the last man standing, first one in, last one out. We appreciate all the hard work from everybody behind the scenes, even everyone else that used to him on the fantasy team. Anthony Solo Lopez, who's a big part of the Tuesday Twitter space show. He's just a wealth of knowledge and opinion for you week in and week out. I mean, he's not afraid to tell you that your team is hot garbage either. So make sure you're listening. Sir. He's not just gonna give you the filler week in and week out. He's gonna make sure that his opinion is known. And I love chopping it up with that guy as well. We got to get him on.
He's not as nice as we are. Like, we'll tell you, hey, it's a nice team, but this guy's like, no, you suck. And I'm, you know what? someone's gotta rip off the Band-Aid. So.
Exactly. We got to get him on one of these lives one morning. I know it is early for him as well.
He's okay, right? Early bird gets the worm.
Yeah, here you go. I love it. Last year we were on at 11. This year 10, just to get at you guys earlier. First question of the day, Javon Tyson. How's it going, guys? I am good. It's a beautiful Sunday morning for me. I need to decide between Rondale Moore, Garrett Wilson, or Michael Gallup at my wide receiver 3. I'm already starting Breece if that changes anything. You have opinion on this first question here?
See, I like Rondale Moore. I do. I really liked his 7 targets last week. His 68 yards, 6 catches. He proved that he can come out and play. I'm just worried about, is he going to be healthy enough to be a guy who comes out every week and does well? This week, I feel like he is. It's like that last week before Hopkins comes back. So I feel like over Garrett Wilson, who has been taking a back seat ever since Zach Wilson came back, which we all knew would happen. Gallup still, I think, is coming back from the ACL. I would probably go Rondale Moore this week with Breece. Yeah. Breece Hall, I think he's the most healthy one. He's the most consistent at an offense. And like I said, there's no DeAndre Hopkins, and they need someone outside of Hollywood Brown. And Rondale Moore last week was a pretty good fill-in for standard or even PPR guys that had like a flex option. So,
yeah, he's probably got the best matchup out of the 3 as well, facing the lowly Seattle Seahawks, who teams have just been lighting up this season. So, yeah, I'm good with Rondale there out of those 3. Thanks for tuning in, Javon. Good luck Caden Casemiro, PPR, ranked them for this week. Eno Benjamin, Darrell Henderson, Miles Sanders, and Jalen Waddle. Both James Conner and Darrell Williams are out for the Arizona Cardinals. Cam Akers is out for the Los Angeles Rams. And then you got Miles Sanders and Jalen Waddle, who's going to have Skylar Thompson throwing him the ball this week. So if we're ranking them, I love the Eno spot this week. I love the Eno spot. I don't like the Miles spot versus the Dallas Cowboys, who've been pretty decent against the running backs on the year. But so I'm gonna go. I mean, it's tough to rank Waddle behind any of these guys. But the guy who's throwing him the ball, at least this week, I mean, I don't see a lot of production coming from Jalen Waddle. I'm gonna go Eno Benjamin, Jalen Waddle, Darrell Henderson, and Miles Sanders.
Give me Eno. I think this is like the prime. This is like the week that you like. Oh, finally, start it.
If you're holding Eno, this is the week to start.
Or if
you blew all your fab, this is the week to start. Right?
Yeah. No, but I think Eno Benjamin's a no-brainer. Darrell Henderson, it's supposed to be clear cut because of the whole Cam Akers situation now, but I still don't trust that backfield. Matt Stafford is the running back killer. So I would go Eno Benjamin, Miles Sanders, Waddle, and Henderson. And I don't feel good putting Waddle at third. That's my boy. That's your boy. We love the guy. But until he comes out and proves that he's got some kind of chemistry with this quarterback, it's looking rough. It's 2 games in a row he's had, 2 down games. So hopefully he comes back. He's still a good receiver. Tyreek wasn't a walking boot. But it'd be Eno, Sanders, and then Waddle and Henderson. But Henderson's going to be an interesting name going forward, especially with the Cam Akers thing, like I keep saying. So hold on to him or try to trade low for him right now because he's not worth too much, but just hang on to him.
There you go. Good luck, Caden. Thank you for tuning in. Albert, Marroquin, Eno, or Mostert, full PPR. Mostert was limited throughout the week during practice with a knee issue. He has taken over that RB1 spot for the Miami Dolphins, but I'm starting Eno over him this week. I think Eno's just going to carry that full workload. He's going to be catching the ball. He's going to be running the ball for the Arizona Cardinals. I'm okay starting Eno Benjamin in a spot start this week over Raheem Mostert.
Yeah, I don't want to do this because it's Mostert. We've been through this. It's like trial and error. It's like good, all right, injured, good, injured. If you have him, I'm glad he's doing good for you. But this is going to be, I think, a show where it's Eno Benjamin or anyone else. And I'm pretty sure, unless we have top dogs, Chris can correct me if I'm wrong. I would start Eno Benjamin over, I think, anyone outside the top 15 easily.
Yeah,
easily. Yeah. I think he's a top 15 plug and play this week. I think if he's another week of being injured, he'll have that. But Eno Benjamin, this is the week to start him. This is it. So if you have him, start him. If you have him, but you don't have guys who are better, look at the top 15 guys. If he's not better than any of those guys, don't start him. That's how I do my start sits. I think he's gonna have a great day against Seattle. It's a AFC or NFC West shootout, and I think both teams are gonna go at it because Cardinals defense has been suspect, and like you said, Seattle has been suspect. So we'll see. It's a high-scoring game. I think Eno Benjamin should eat rushing-wise and receiving-wise.
Yeah, I could see a situation where the Vikings today against the Dolphins put the Miami into a position where they're forced to throw the ball, stacking the box, putting all the pressure on the rookie of Skylar Thompson there. So I'm okay, at least this week, starting Eno over Raheem Mostert. Good luck, Albert. Ryan Potts, is Devin Duvernay a real option, or am I just being a homer? He's a real option. I mean, he could have had a much bigger day last week if Lamar hit him on those go routes. Lamar overthrew him, I think, on two big passes, which were tutties. So Rashad Bateman's out. He's out this week with that nagging foot injury. So Devin Duvernay is a real option and not just in deeper leagues. So yeah, you can fire him up and not have to worry too much. He's that wide receiver 1 on that team with Rashad Bateman out.
And I'm pretty sure on PPR, I know he had that 1 touchdown return. I think was it 2 weeks ago. Yep. He's averaging over 10 points a game. So like you said, he's getting targets of 4, 2, 2, 2, 5, 7, like 50 yards over 3 times. I think it's most in his career so far. So he is having a career year. I just feel like people are trying to make him like what Rashad Bateman is. It's like, hey, this guy's great. This guy's great. We've seen him develop, but I feel like he's just a guy you stash and he's a bye-week filler or an injury filler. I don't know if I would even start him in my flex unless you have, I said, injuries or your team's struggling. But we don't know. Maybe going forward, he might be a good, rest of the season guy. He has Cleveland, Atlanta, and Pittsburgh the last 3 weeks of the season. So don't drop him, stash him, but he might be a boomer bust on a weekend, week in, week out basis.
Yep. He's seeing a lot of deep ball. He 11.3 yards per target. So the boom factor for Devin Duvernay is higher than most guys. So he's a guy that, again, like Steph said, bye week filler, injury filler. You can plug him in as long as Rashad Bateman's out. I'm good with him as a week to week start. Triple X Lex sit one. I saw his message earlier. He said, Happy Sunday, Triple X. I'm a little disappointed that there's no early game. I've been kind of getting used to having the 9:30 game on and waking up and having my coffee, breakfast, enjoying a little bit of football in the morning. But this week I have to settle for the ones. Sit one, Darrell Henderson, Ken Walker, or Breece Hall. If I'm sitting one, it's Henderson.
I mean, are we really? It's green because it's the Michigan State colors.
That's-
Are we
that looks
really
good.
going to
Looks
do
like an
it?
NFT shirt. I like
There
it.
you go. My new NFT. I'm sure. No, man. Listen, I have to spoil the surprise for today, anyways. Ken Walker is going to be on a list of mine. I'm not going to say is it the starter sit list, but you're gonna bench Henderson for this one. I'm not going to say what it is, but I think you should just bench Henderson and enjoy the other two guys because.
Yeah, Breece Hall's a must start for me the rest of the way. He's taking over that. Yeah, he's taking over that backfield for the New York Jets. He's seeing a ton of targets, especially in a full PPR league. He's automatic.
Ever since you said that 1 week, 2 weeks ago, you said start him, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna hop on board. And ever since then, he's been RB top 5 numbers last 2 weeks.
Yep. He's been great. He's been great, and it's good to see him roll. Those rookie running backs usually take a couple weeks to get into the mix. We saw that with Jonathan Taylor last season as well. And Breece Hall is easily coming into his own for the New York Jets offense. He could have had 2 more tutties as well, but we saw Mike Carter vulture 2 of them last week, so he could even had a bigger day. Mike Carter took those goal line carries away from him, which is not a thing. Don't get too worried if you're a Breece Hall owner. Don't worry too much about Mike Carter. But again, I mean, his day could have been huge, huge, and it was already big.
I think that the Michael Carter train, like the beginning of the season, it's like, oh, Breece Hall, and then Michael Carter takes over. Now it's finally like, hey. This is why you took Breece Hall in the 7th, 8th round because, man, I wish I would have traded him or even took him. But these rookie running backs, like you said, they're getting going. The Ken Walkers, the Pierce, the Breece Halls. It's like these are the guys you wanted to have this to happen. So I'm glad it's happening finally.
You got it. KJ, Joe Mixon, or Mike Williams, full PPR. You got to take.
Volume is king. You know that with running backs.
Mixon versus the Saints, and you got Mike Williams versus the Denver Broncos.
So it's either Surtain or that run defense of yours. It's not really a good option. I think I got to go Mike Williams on this one, only because I feel like he'll get more exposure to a different corner outside of Pat Surtain. I feel like when they line him up in a different position and this and that, he will get a few open, looks, targets in here. Mixon, I don't know what's going on with that run team. I think they're just looking like a committee. Mixon's not, RB4 like he was last year. A lot of struggles, a lot of, missed tackles, missed holes, just misplays. I don't know if he's injured. Is he not playing right or what it is? But I think Mike Williams is starting to prove that without Keenan Allen, he's a must start every week.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough that you gotta choose between both of these guys. The Saints defense hasn't really been that stout versus the run. We saw Rashad Penny and Ken Walker both have some decent runs last week versus the Saints. Week 1, we saw Cordell Patterson absolutely torch us. So there's been a few misses for the Saints. There was that 3-week block where they were pretty decent against the run. 2 weeks where they haven't been. So it's hit and miss. My only worry with Joe Mixon is his yards per carry hasn't been great. It's a sheer volume play. If he's not getting the volume for you, he's not going to produce. He's become a little bit of touchdown dependent. So I'm good with Mike Williams being the wide receiver 1 for the San Diego. I was going to say Los Angeles Chargers coming into week on Monday night with with Keenan Allen most likely out that week. My only worry is that the Monday night games haven't been that explosive. So
There's only been one game in the over. In 12 games, there's only been one over, and that's the Buffalo Tennessee game by 1 point.
Yeah, so they haven't been too great. But I'm good with starting Mike Williams over Joe Mixon there. Good luck. I'm a bot. Start to Deion Jackson, Rondale Moore, or Raheem Mostert. Jonathan Taylor and Nyheim Hines are both out. Taylor suffering from the high ankle sprain, and Nyheim Hines suffering from that concussion that he suffered last Thursday. So you're starting to. You got Deion Jackson in the spot start for the Colts. Rondale Moore, I think, he's a start versus the Seattle Seahawks this week, especially in full PPR. And then you got Mostert. So you're leaning pretty much between Deion Jackson and Raheem Mostert. You like one over the other here, Steph?
I mean, if you are a bot, you'd go with Mostert because you're going to fall for that whole thing. I looked at Deion Jackson in my waivers, and when he had 0 points yesterday, I'm like, why is this guy like? He looks really attractive. Like, it's a really attractive pickup if you need a running back bye week. Houston's on a bye week, Derrick Henry's on a bye week, kind of those guys. I feel like I'm okay with starting Deion Jackson because what are you going to start Philip Lindsay and have him do okay? I think Rondale Moore is the number one guy, and I think Deion Jackson's number 2. I feel like he's a workhorse back, and when he had his first, game of the year, 11 carries, he had 14 PPR points. I feel like he could do that again. Matt Ryan loves to have a Tevin Coleman-style running back, which Deion Jackson and Philip Lindsay are. They're like his Tevin Coleman, Devonta Freeman, kind of a combo. So I feel like he'll have a good, workhorse day. I don't trust Mostert, that knee injury. It's, Mostert's signature line is, oh, it's the knee. I just would rather bench him and start Moore and Deion Jackson. And Deion Jackson's going to be a hot name this week that are going to piss a lot of people off if you didn't pick him up or if you're not starting him.
Yeah.
Just be aware of Deion. He's a big bruising back with an ugly running back number that's going to make you mad.
Hey, we seen a kicker wearing number 40 yesterday win the game for the Tennessee Volunteers versus the Alabama Crimson Tide. 40 just doesn't belong on a kicker. It's a fullback number, but
it's like 24 for a receiver. No,
he kicked an absolute knuckleball. What a day of electricity in college football yesterday. We saw Utah beat USC. We saw the Tennessee Volunteers kick that game-winning field goal with, I think, 20 seconds left when they got the ball back or something like that.
Oh, yeah, and that thing was ugly. It
was
ugly.
Just knuckleballed it. I mean, it was a great day of college football yesterday. So hopefully we get to see the same thing today. We got KC Buffalo, which should mirror that Tennessee Alabama game. So hopefully it's the same kind of points put up there. Fantasy managers are going to absolutely love that game.
We'll have 13 reasons to like that game. So, I mean,
yeah, exactly. How is my trade playing out? Trade was in week 4. I traded away T. Higgins for Breece Hall. I have Jamar Chase, Amon-Ra St. Brown, AJ Brown, Hollywood Brown. Oh, you're just full of Browns. Garrett Wilson at wide receiver, Swift, Penny, Ken Walker, and Brian Robinson. Absolutely love that trade based on where you're sitting at wide receiver. You're picking up Breece Hall, T. Higgins. True game time decision today. It's not looking like he's going to be playing, but if he is, I don't know if I'm trusting him, especially after last week when he put up that 0. Marshawn Lattimore is out this week for the New Orleans Saints. So hopefully Cincinnati gets it together and schemes Jamar Chase some touches for you this week to get him that ball, not just on the go routes. I saw a graphic of the Jamar Chase route tree that he's been running, and it's just been a ton of goes. If teams know that, they're going to take that away from you. And as soon as they do, they don't adjust. They got to adjust. If they adjust, Jamar Chase can get back up into that top 5 weekly wide receiver for you, but it's up to the Cincinnati Bengals. But I love the trade. I love the trade T. Higgins for Breece Hall, the way Breece Hall has been shaping up and the way T. Higgins has missed a couple games. He played last week, but
Oh, what?
He pretty much
10 snaps.
He pretty much missed it with the 0. So yeah, based on your wide receiver room here and the running backs you got, I mean, you got Walker, B-Rob, and now you're adding Breece Hall. As soon as DeAndre Swift comes back, I mean, you got an elite team there, man. Good luck.
Yeah, I'm surprised. Hey, and honestly, you guys have to understand, if you have the depth to make a trade like you did, Lex, do it. You need, like, this year I made trades, where receiver. This is the year of the receiver, by the way. That's my whole point in this really quickly. It's receivers have dominated this year, and you have a depth at receiver. Complete your team like you just did, Lex. Get Breece Hall for T. Higgins. And now look at the team. Now you've got a stacked squad. You got the receivers, the running backs. Make that championship run. And also keep us updated in our app how you do every week. Let us know what, last week was the win. You get a win last week. You're getting a win this week. Because I want to see how the people we give the advice to, how you guys are doing. Like, some people send me DMs of their teams like, oh, I won because of you guys this week, or oh, I lost because you told me to start this guy. And I'm like, oh,
hey, if we can predict the future, like we base our analysis on our research and trends and matchups and offensive line, defensive line, all kinds of different things. You do hours of research and analysis, and then Sunday comes and it just gets tossed out the window because nothing goes right. But our hit rate this season has been pretty good. So give yourself the Barry Horowitz. Pat yourself on the back, and let's move on to week 6, right? On to Cincinnati, right?
So the guy who's damn near perfect on the season. He's on to Cincinnati.
Hey, I don't like to toot my own horn, but Nick Thomas, Jeff Wilson, and Deontay for Mike Williams PPR. Trade question.
No, do not trade Jeffrey Wilson and Deontay Johnson for Mike Williams. I think Mike Williams, like I just said, without no Keenan Allen, which he expects to come back next week, Mike Williams is a PPR 1 guy, but you're giving up a 2-for-1 for a guy who's not really worth 2 players. His hype is worth the 2 players, but end of the season, you're not going to want to look back and say, dang, I traded an RB1 for the next 4 weeks as Mitchell has another month left of his recovery. And a guy who catches 8 balls. Actually, Deontay Johnson is basically Mike Evans in a poor man's offense this year.
Yeah, I get it.
So, like, it's a wash between Deontay and Mike Williams. And then Jeff Wilson's like, you're just making the guy have a better team. So I would stay away from that and not make that 2-for-1.
Yep, there you go. Good luck, Nick. Ryan Potts, producer extraordinaire. So Tampa is playing Pittsburgh, who has a banged-up secondary. How many starting QBs will Blaine Gabbert outscore?
31.
Oh, geez.
31 because the other one's going to be Tom Brady. Tom Brady, Blaine Gabbert, Kyle Trask, Leonard Fournette. That's the top 4 quarterbacks of the day. I don't want to hear it.
Here you go. Okay, we got full PPR. I need a flex. Isaiah McKenzie versus the Kansas City Chiefs. J.K. Dobbins or Zay Jones. I'm gonna put I'm gonna rank Zay Jones 3rd. I want to put Isaiah McKenzie over J.K. Dobbins. I didn't like what I saw.
Why would you do that?
I didn't like what I saw last week with Kenyon Drake coming in to spell some of J.K. Dobbins. I like the matchup, Isaiah McKenzie versus the Kansas City Chiefs. I think he's going to see a ton of volume. I know Gabe Davis is a thing there, but Gabe Davis is only really that deep option. I think he only had 3 catches for a bunch of yards and the 2 tutties last week. Absolutely burning the secondary. I have Isaiah McKenzie and J.K. Dobbins close. Full PPR, need a flex. I'm going to lean the running back, J.K. Dobbins.
I'm always going to say it's volume is king. If you can run the ball, but still get 5 catches a game, I'll take you. I'll take you 24/7. I'll take J.K. Dobbins over all these guys. I'm scared to say that too because you know how fantasy works. I say one thing, the other thing happens, and then the whole world goes crazy, and I'm an idiot because the world flipped the switch one day. I think Zay Jones is a closer 2 than McKenzie is this week. I think McKenzie is a very, very risky, like a boom, bust, 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 boom, bust, bust, bust kind of a guy. And I think Zay Jones, it's not pretty. I mean, this freaking guy is not the receiver 1, but Trevor Lawrence loves him. Trevor Lawrence loves this guy. So you starting him maybe for bye week right now? No, Dobbins, Zay Jones, McKenzie. If Gabe Davis goes down, I'm shooting McKenzie up the boards really high. But until that happens, it's a Stephon Diggs and then the Gabe Davis show.
Yeah, hey, you really think it's Gabe Davis over McKenzie in that offense? I had this conversation with Solo prior to the season.
I think
But
you have to. Like, if you look at McKenzie's nothing but like he's like Tyler Boyd. That's exactly what he's like. It's like the Cincinnati offense. I like to compare what they are. Stephon Diggs and Jamar Chase, you got to give the guy that the usage, a percentage of routes, snaps, everything. Gabe Davis is like T. Higgins, but T. Higgins Gabe Davis is a cheaper version of T. Higgins. I'm sorry. Because I know Gabe Davis has all these big numbers, but let's put him into a full season. He is basically like T. Higgins. He's a guy, number 2. He will get you those good games. He'll have you receiver 1 days over the real receiver 1. But in reality, we know who the pecking order goes with. And it's Diggs, it's Gabe Davis, and McKenzie. And I think Gabe Davis, he had the most receiving yards last week off 3 catches, and that's what he can do. But then again, he'll have days where he gets the same catches and 50 yards and no touchdowns. So it's just the way it goes. I just think McKenzie is good. It's just when Gabe Davis is not fully there, he's better because it's just too much of a share load or a workload. And Josh Allen, as it is, he requires 50% of the workload, passing, rushing. He is the brain of that offense. So I think if Gabe Davis is good all season, McKenzie is nothing but a flex / like receiver 3. I look at his numbers.
Okay, look at his numbers. The 3 weeks they played together, weeks 1, 3, and 4. Gabe Davis, 14 targets, 8 receptions, 138 yards, 1 TD. Isaiah McKenzie, the three games they played together.
Okay, now that was the ankle injury though, right?
Yeah. So weeks 1, 3, and 4, they played together. They're on the field. They're both on the field at the same time. Gabe Davis, 14 targets, 8 receptions, 138 yards, 1 TD. Isaiah McKenzie, 18 targets, 13 receptions, 116 yards, 3 touchdowns. In those 3 games, Gabe Davis is averaging 9.4 fantasy points per game. Isaiah McKenzie, 13.48 fantasy points per game. In week 1, Gabe Davis had a big week 1, 19.5 fantasy points. Isaiah McKenzie, 9.65. Week 3, Gabe Davis, 6.4 fantasy points. Isaiah McKenzie, 20.2. And week 4, Gabe Davis, 2 fantasy points. And Isaiah McKenzie, 10.6. So the numbers, like you said, if you follow them, lean towards Isaiah McKenzie. The only thing for me is Gabe Davis has the ability, because Isaiah McKenzie is that slot wide receiver for the Buffalo Bills. Gabe Davis has the ability to put up those, like we saw last week. Exactly, right? His production comes on the breakdown of the defense, whereas Isaiah McKenzie's production comes scripted, schemed to get touches, right? So Isaiah McKenzie might see more touches. Gabe Davis might see more boom plays at the end of the day. So,
I mean, they're good. Like, listen,
no doubt.
To go somewhere else, you're looking at a receiver 2 clear cut.
Yep.
It's just they have riches. They have all these receivers. They have tight ends. So if Gabe Davis does go down, what is he, a top 20 receiver?
Yeah, on a weekly basis, very well could be production wise.
Okay,
but out of all of them, I'm still taking Stephon Diggs.
Oh, yeah,
He's still taking Stephon. So to answer your question, I'm gonna go McKenzie, Dobbins, Zay. Dobbins only the 31% snap share last week. Did see Kenyon Drake quite a bit. You also have Lamar Jackson there running the ball. Full PPR. I'm going to go Isaiah McKenzie versus the Chiefs.
Okay. We're going to clip this one. We'll come back to that.
We'll come back. That's a good conversation. And Baltimore's got the Giants, man. The Giants defense.
Listen,
no slouch.
I don't know what it is about today in that game, but I'm telling you, there's something about that game that's not pretty. I'm looking at the line. I'm looking at the numbers. I'm like,
the Giants wide receiver room.
The Giants record too. That's a different story.
That's pretty though. That's pretty.
Is it pretty? It's a
Giants are what? 4-1.
It's like
it's a pretty record. It's a pretty record.
It's a pretty record, but like, it's like, when like you go through your work week, you start off Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, right? And you go, how you doing on Monday? Oh, dragging. It gets worse and worse. And by the weekend, you're like just dragging, getting ready to go there. I feel like the Giants are just dragging a 4-1 start. If they start losing and it's gonna get bad, because right now everything is going really, really well. And I even think Dab was like, wait, you expect me to coach another full, complete game like I did last week? You expect me to continue a 4-1? I don't even know how I even got here. Let's be real. We don't know how the Giants are 4-1, but
this place.
Yeah, it's a twilight zone. The Giants are 4-1. It's I don't know. I can't.
The NFC beast, baby. The
NFC went from the worst like record division to like 4-1, 4-1 undefeated. And then we got the Commanders football team, whatever they want to be called by the next 10 years. So
there you go. Good luck, brother. Hope you appreciate. Dobbins has averaged 9.3 carries per game with 2 targets per game. Any concern? Yeah, tons of concern. He's coming off that big knee injury. He was expected to start slow. We're going to expect him to start slow. He might be a guy that if he has another, not so good, bad outing this week, that you're going to want to dive in on and kind of buy low for a team that, maybe the team that has him is 2-4 at the end of the week, 3-3, looking to still stay in the playoff race, needs that RB. You can maybe go give him like a Mostert and someone else. If Mostert or Benjamin have a good day, you can go in and try to grab a J.K. Dobbins on the cheap end, because he's definitely the best running back outside of Lamar Jackson on that Baltimore Ravens team. And you could definitely gonna see that volume increase on a week-to-week basis. So concern, yes, right now. Panic button, not yet, but definitely a guy that if he has a bad outing, which he may have against the Giants this week, I'm gonna go in and try to scoop up.
I mean, listen, end of the season, J.K. Dobbins fully healthy. You got to ease him back in. Gus Edwards is coming back in.
Yep. Yeah. It's another factor as well.
Yeah, but if we look at it though, for the team that has the most rushing attempts in the entire season, the last 3 years, you don't think like Mike Davis, Kenyon Drake, Dobbins, and then Gus Edwards. You sit there and you go, okay, Gus Edwards is good, but is he a guy who can get you 15 carries? Or is he a guy who can get you 10 carries while Dobbins is still the workhorse? Because they only brought those other running backs in to fill the void of what a Dobbins does, just like last year in Tennessee. They lose Derrick Henry. Where they bring Dontre Hilliard, Donta Foreman. They give him damn near identical numbers, and they averaged what Derrick Henry averaged between 3 guys. So I feel like Dobbins, let's say after their bye week, going forward, they go, hey, how you feeling? How do you feel about getting 15 touches in the game? Oh, I'm good. I think I can do it. So come last 4 weeks of the season, J.K. Dobbins I feel like is a playoff home run winner because of the lack of respect he's getting right now. Yeah. I know he's injured or coming off the injury. I'm the biggest advocate for it. Don't start an injured guy, but give him time, give him a few weeks. If you don't have to start him, don't start him. If you do, then you know what? I hope he does you good. But if you don't start him now and you do later, it's going to pay you dividends when you're looking at championship right in the face. And J.K. Dobbins is like, hey, remember me 2 years ago? That's the J.K. Dobbins I want. The J.K. Dobbins of 2 years ago when he went off for almost 1,000 yards and I think almost 10 touchdowns 2 years ago in the second half of the season. That's the J.K. Dobbins I'm waiting for because I know it's there. So don't get rid of him. If you do, try to get as much as you can. But when you keep him and the second half run starts, you're going to be so happy you have a running back of his caliber.
Yep. You got it. You got it there. Ursa Kiki, S-Run Kiki, full PPR, Godwin or Pittman? I'm going to go Chris Godwin.
100%. I was waiting because Pittman,
especially against the Steelers. Yeah,
I feel like a milk carton or something. Hey, where's Michael Pittman?
Yeah, you go Chris Godwin there.
Yeah, I got it. Even if the Bucs thing, I think he's gonna get again. Volume is king. This guy gets 8-9 targets and gets 6-7 catches a game. That's just what he does.
Steelers are the last place team against the wide receiver.
Minka's out.
Yeah, allowing 34.4 fantasy points per game to the position as a whole. The last place team against the wide receiver. You're starting Chris Godwin.
Yes, sir.
Without hezzy. No hezzy there.
I never thought I would say that today. I mean, shit.
Yeah. All right. Week 6 outs. This is a big list. Jonathan Taylor's out with the ankle sprain. Nyheim Hines is out with the concussion. Nelson Aguilar is out. Not that he's, fantasy relevant.
Oh, no.
Anyways. Damian Harris is out. So Ramondre's season is upon us.
You've been
Christian
waiting for that one.
Watson's out. Tua Tagovailoa is out. He has been cleared and should return next week. Jarvis Landry's out. Michael Thomas is out. Chris Olave is out. So it's not looking good for the New Orleans Saints.
Jeez.
Jameis Winston is dressed, but most likely not playing. Rashad Bateman out. Kenny Galladay out. Kadarius Toney's out. Pat Freiermuth is out. Baker Mayfield out. Laviska Shenault is out. Cam Akers is out. James Conner is out. Kyle Pitts probable. Tyler Higbee's probable. Raheem Mostert still has that questionable tag. Most likely going to play. Keenan Allen, I believe, is going to be out. Darrell Williams is out. That's a big list. Some big name players, especially the top one, Jonathan Taylor and Nyheim Hines. I mean, both guys out there. Deion Jackson's season, at least for week 6, is here. A couple other big names hurting you, but especially with bye weeks coming in, waivers are the most important for these next few weeks here. So make sure you're hopping in at 9 p.m. EST onto the uSTADIUM Twitter as we host our weekly waiver show. We are also answering questions, giving you guys our fantasy fugazis, our buy sell holds on for each week, answering your questions, giving you the knowledge that you need to set up your weeks for the fantasy season. Where do you want McCaffrey to land for fantasy purposes? I mean, there's a ton of spots I would want him to land. San Francisco is one just based on the scheme there, but the injury history and concern for San Francisco running backs has not been great. So I don't think I want him to go there. I do scheme-wise, but I don't injury-wise.
The Rams?
The Rams would be another nice spot. I just don't think that they're going to be able to afford to be able to trade for him.
DJ Moore would be a good guy they could trade. See, that's a team that could use DJ Moore as the freaking LA Rams.
They just don't have the assets to move. I mean, there's no rule that I don't know. Could they trade away their 2027, 2028, and 2029 first round picks?
I've seen Amari Cooper go for a 5th round pick. I think DJ Moore can go
but
second round pick.
They traded him for a 5th round pick and got rid of $20 million off their salary cap as well, right? So I mean, Dallas would be a nice spot for DJ Moore. What's a spot you wouldn't want to see Christian McCaffrey go?
San Francisco 49ers. Man, I don't want anyone going to that team running back wise. You don't know who it is.
Yeah, I mean,
but no, you know what?
Denver Broncos. How about McCaffrey on the Broncos?
No, man. I'm still mourning my loss. You're gonna sit there and just spring it on me. I just lost Javonte. You're gonna spring McCaffrey.
McCaffrey on the Broncos would be nice though. DJ Moore to the Giants. I don't know how much that helps his. McCaffrey to the Dolphins?
I know most of the Edmonds are there, but I would ditch those two in a heartbeat if I had a chance at McCaffrey. And McCaffrey, because your boy, the 49ers, old, OC, Mike Daniel, man, that if that happened, that would be
instant. The Bills for McCaffrey would be nice. I mean, it would ruin my Devin Singletary stock, but
I mean, he's going to be ruined anyways. It's not. He's going to go. What do you expect, Devin Singletary? Go RB1.
RB1, Devin Singletary, my boy. Bills would be nice. Chiefs for DJ Moore would be nice. I would love to see DJ Moore on the Chiefs.
That's what I wish they would have taken, except over Juju Smith was DJ Moore. That would have been a great. That would have been perfect for Mahomes. That would have been a great revival career for DJ Moore too. But it's fantasy, and we're not, listen, this is not a perfect world, and the NFL will trade guys for 5 fifth-round picks and $20 million off the cap. Well, we'll trade guys for a 2-for-1 because we want to win the week.
Yep, you got it, man. You got it there. So a couple good landing spots for Christian McCaffrey. I'd love to see him go. Most likely, probably not going to get traded to him or DJ Moore. We don't really see too much in-season trading with the NFL.
Not the NBA.
It would take quite a bit for teams to have to trade for these guys middle of season. I mean, running back and wide receiver are probably two of the spots that you would see in-season trade just based on. I mean, you're running routes and you're running the ball, you're catching the ball. You you just got to learn your position when it comes to the playbook. You don't got to learn too much outside of that. You got to learn your verbiage and what routes and stuff like that you're going to run. So there's a few spots we'd like to see these guys end up. Most likely they're staying on the Carolina Panthers. Let's get to our week 6 starts and sits of the week, brought to you guys by the uSTADIUM app and the uSTADIUM family. Make sure you are downloading the uSTADIUM app. You're hopping in on the takes. My take is almost expired that the Philadelphia Eagles go 17-0 on the season. They're probably going to lose today to the Dallas Cowboys. Just jinx that stuff right there.
Bet the Eagles.
But what a take is you're monetizing your sports take as long as it has a clear outcome. There's a couple good ones there on there today with, I believe it's Josh Allen, Mahomes. I forget who the other quarterback is there. All poised to finish as top 5 QBs for the week. You got NFL takes. There's live takes. I believe there was a big Tennessee take last night with the college football season. So we are brought to you guys by the uSTADIUM app. Make sure you're hopping on that app. DM us your username so we can hook you guys up with some free points. So you can hop in on that. And you also get access to us on that app as well. Sorry. You also get access to us on that app as well, asking your fantasy questions, football questions, everything in between. Hop on the uSTADIUM app. It is always a live place to be. All right, Steph, are you ready to fire off these week 6 starts and sits?
Yes, I've been doing my homework. I had a nice 4 for 5 week last week.
You had
it's
a
the
good
Ravens
week.
defense. It's the Ravens. I gotta stop saying to bench those guys because man, they keep coming like, okay, you want to bench us? Watch this.
Yeah, watch what we can do. Love to see it. Our week 6 QB start of the week is none other than Geno Smith of the Seattle Seahawks versus the Arizona Cardinals. What better start to Geno Smith's 2022 fantasy campaign than being 5 weeks in, and he is the QB8 overall, only 4 points away from being the QB5. That does factor in Carson Wentz's play. Also, just a little tidbit, Carson Wentz broke his finger or fractured his finger on the Thursday night game. I mean, you couldn't tell fractured finger or no fractured finger. I mean, you can't really tell any part of this game. So he's expected to maybe miss some time. He is seeing a specialist there, but 1,305 passing yards, good for QB12, 9 passing TDs, QB7, 1 rushing touchdown for Geno Smith on the year. It's been a great story. Quarterbacks versus the Cardinals are averaging 21.8 fantasy points on the season. So QBs versus the Cardinals are consistent QB1s. They are the 23rd ranked team versus the quarterback. Over the past 3 games, Geno Smith is averaging 304 yards and 2.3 touchdowns. So the spot start versus the Arizona Cardinals is an absolute smash for fantasy owners if you are streaming the position. He has 2 solid weapons still in Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf. Tyler Lockett having a quiet top 20, top 25 fantasy season so far. You're not hearing too much about him, but he's produced on a weekly basis. He is consistently finding these guys downfield where he is 8th in all quarterbacks, deep ball attempts, and 3rd in yards per attempt. He leads the NFL in passer rating and completion percentage. These teams versus the Cardinals are averaging 10.3 yards per passing play against. So the fact that he's able to move the ball downfield and the Arizona Cardinals are letting those plays downfield happen, it's a great spot for Geno Smith. The Seattle defense as well hasn't been the greatest, which leads to Seattle having the need to score points and keep up with their opponents in order to stay competitive in these games. My projection on the week for Geno Smith, 300 yards, 2.5 touchdowns. I'm expecting him to have a big day versus the Arizona Cardinals, another QB1 finish for the Seattle Seahawks. So fire up Geno Smith where you got him. Our QB sit of the week, Stephon, let him have it, man.
Well, coming into this season, we really thought it was going to be the other way around. We thought it was going to be, the chef was in the kitchen. It was going to be, cooking this smell of, great food being cooked in Denver. But the only thing being cooked in Denver is Russell Wilson. I mean, the guy is like, let Russ cook. The man is getting cooked. He is the entree. He is the meal. He's just getting he's like a pig. He's getting roasted. He's over here. It's pathetic. I'm sorry. And I'm kind of mad because I was a big Russell Wilson believer. I remember when he got traded, I was at the store in Tampa. We were grocery shopping at the register, and I see the trade goes down for Russell Wilson, and I freak out. And I'm like, oh my God, this is great. My girlfriend's like, what is wrong with you? We're in public. I'm like, I know, I'm sorry. But this is not what I signed up for. This is not what anybody signed up for. 1,254 yards, 14th in the league, 4 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. That's tied for 23rd and 10th. Oh, great. You're a top 10 in something, interceptions. You're also top 25 in the lowest QBR. I mean, hey, 36.3. What is going on with Russell Wilson? I don't understand. I don't know what happened. Whoever was in Seattle, they need to give him, they need to get him back. Whoever Seattle Russell Wilson was, they need to find a way to get him whatever it was he got in Seattle, because this is not the same Russ. The yards are there. Week 1, 340. Sunday against the Raiders 2 weeks ago, 237. Last week on that abysmal, I thought it couldn't get worse Thursday night game. It did last week. 274 yards. No touchdowns in the last game. 2 touchdowns in the game before that. But he's averaging 1.1 touchdowns a game. You're a quarterback. What do you like? As you can tell, it kind of gets me, it irks me up a little bit because I was so high on the guy that it was supposed to come out. You have Colton Sutton, Jerry Jeudy, Albert O, good offensive line, Javonte Williams. You have Melvin Gordon. You have everything you need. Everything, yet you still can't cook. I give you the food. I give you the recipe. I give you the utensils. I give you the pots and the pans, and yet you are making ramen noodles. I don't understand. And this is the week I'm going to continue the trend. It's against the Chargers. You've got J.C. Jackson. You've got Khalil Mack. You've got those dogs on the other side that just came off a crazy win against the Browns. And you're going to put Russell Wilson for a 5th time on primetime, 5 times for hot garbage. That's what it's been. So don't start Russell Wilson. He's giving you no reason to. He's giving you nothing but headaches. And his cooking, his food, his chicken's undercooked. His steak is still raw. It's still mooing. That's what Russell Wilson is right now. He's an unexperienced chef, and I don't expect him to come out this week and cook you something. I don't know why Gordon Ramsay hasn't gone into Denver, gone into Russell Wilson's house and said, "What is this hot garbage, you idiot sandwich?" That's my take on Russell Wilson. It's a slaughter fest. I'm very upset about him. He's very, very, very criminally robbing Denver. So start him this week if you want. Go ahead. You got bigger cojones than I do because I'm benching this guy, damn near borderline cutting him or trading him because it's just starting to get to a point where I can start Geno Smith, the guy that you got rid of, in wherever you get rid of him, and put him to Seattle like this guy is going to suck, but we're going to bridge the quarterback this year. No, he's cooking. He stole Russell Wilson's juice. Wherever Russell Wilson went to Denver, Geno Smith, it's like in the Space Jam. He's like, oh, I'm going to take your powers. And now look at Geno Smith. Geno's cooking. Russell's not. Don't start Russell Wilson this week. I don't expect anything over maybe 1 touchdown, 225 yards. I expect a lot of sacks. I expect a lot of scrambles. And I don't think Sutton's going to have a good game because you got J.C. Jackson. You got a good defense. You got Derwin James is still there. Bench Russell Wilson. That was my TED talk for the day on him. If you ask me in any app, I'm just going to tell you bench him. I don't like it, and I don't like what's coming forward for him. So
the passion right there. That's how you know he's serious right there. Passion. Love to see it. You know who does love Russell Wilson right now?
Who?
Lamar Jackson.
Oh, yeah. Oh, man. He's like, bro, good luck. Big trust.
Yeah. We got Ye. What's up, Yeezy? Trade Pierce for Walker and Etienne? Yes.
Oh, I love Pierce, but brother, you better hit that accept button before 1 o'clock hits because once his common sense comes through.
Yeah. Etienne's on the up and up. Walker's thrust into the starting role for the Seahawks. Pierce, like you said, is nice, but I'm taking the double RB.
Oh yeah, if it wasn't a 2 for 1, but yeah. Anything 2 for 1 for like that, you smash.
Make that trade, yay. All right, RB sit of the week, none other than Naji Harris of the Pittsburgh Steelers versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It's been reported that Naji has been fully cleared from his Liz Frank injury. He had the plate removed from his shoe. If that has been the thing that has been the cause of his poor play as of late, Naji managers could finally see the production that they have been hoping for based on where they drafted him. 0.6 yards before contact is not great. The O-line seems to be blocking better when Warren is back there, or the defense doesn't think they will run it as much when Jaylen Warren is the running back. So that may mean that maybe the Pittsburgh Steelers have to change up their game plan a bit when Naji Harris is in the backfield. His yards per carry has him in the bottom half of the league. And also, Pittsburgh isn't running the ball that much either, averaging 22 runs per game. That puts him at 26th on the year. So a running back that produces with volume isn't getting the volume he needs to produce as a fantasy running back. I'm thinking maybe, Stefan, you maybe should have listened to Noah at the beginning of the season.
Listen here,
when
man.
He was predicting that Naji Harris was going to have a down year. I mean, there was some pretty heated conversations in those chats.
I loved it, though.
But it's looking the trending towards Naji Harris being a bust based on where you drafted him, right?
At least Mixon's not too crazy good.
No, Mixon as well. Another guy, another volume guy, right? Yards per carry is absolutely atrocious as well, as worse than Naji Harris. I think Naji Harris is sitting at 3.6 and Joe Mixon sitting at a 3.2. Yards per carry isn't a do or die stat. It's not one of those stats that you live by. It just helps paint the picture for production for these running backs. So, and Coach Tomlin has also come out and said Jaylen Warren will continue to see more usage moving forward. Running backs versus the Buccaneers on the year are averaging 12.8 fantasy points on the season as a unit. So that's the whole RB room. So they are fifth best in the league versus the position. Through the first 3 weeks, no running back room has hit over 7 fantasy points against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So I'm looking forward to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers absolutely shutting down the Pittsburgh's run game. Tied into that, the game script for Naji Harris isn't going to be a positive one because the Pittsburgh Steelers defense just doesn't got it. If the Tampa Bay Buccaneers go up big in the first and second quarter, the first half, Pittsburgh Steelers are going to be ultimately chasing points, trying to play catch up, which doesn't spell good news for the running back, especially when your running back needs the volume to produce, and he's just not going to get it versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. My projection on the week, 65 yards and half a touchdown. So not a good day for Naji Harris. I mean, Jaylen Warren has looked like the better, more explosive running back between the two. We know that's not necessarily true at an athletic standpoint. I mean, Warren went undrafted. Naji Harris was they spent some good draft capital on that kid. So yeah. So seeing him struggle, and then you see the splits, the Trent Richardson splits between
please no.
And you hate to see it. You hate for that to be the comparison. But, I mean,
I thought I would never have to go through that again. That was the worst.
It's not looking good. You're sitting Naji Harris. LH12, do I start Tyler Conklin or Taysom Hill this week? I'm all in on Taysom Hill.
Yeah, you're all in him now? Okay, yeah. Watch what happens.
This is what it happens, right? 4 TDs last week. They got no Mike Thomas, no Chris Olave. They got no Jarvis Landry. He is going to be the sole fantasy producer on that team. Alvin Kamara, you called it last week with the bounce back. Did see a great week. I could see Alvin Kamara and Taysom Hill both being
love
fantasy productive against the Cincinnati Bengals this week. But I am comfortable starting Taysom Hill over Tyler Conklin as my starting tight end. I mean, Taysom Hill is the definition of superflex, right? He plays
Of
all the
annoying.
positions.
Annoying, right?
Of annoying. You
Of
got it. Good week, LH. Good luck. Our RB start of the week, Stefan. Who is it?
Oh, you mean the guy that's sitting on my t-shirt?
With the NFT shirt?
The NFT shirt. Only at uSTADIUM, you get it through. You get the free cool background of my house. That's not really there, but it's there. It's Kenneth Walker. It's the best running back in last year or this year's draft. It's the best running back at Michigan State, the best running back of the entire country. That didn't go to Alabama. So, Ken Walker. Oh, I know. But it's Ken Walker. The guy, you drafted him in Dynasty. It's Ken Walker. I'm not just going to keep saying his name. It's just Ken Walker. I mean, you look at him. Penny, he comes into the year. You know he's an injury-prone guy. I don't like to, say I told her so, but I told you guys this is going to happen. I knew it would be week 5 or week 6 that you would see Ken Walker come into the scene. Last week against your Saints had that crazy 75-yard rushing touchdown, which inflated his stats, which, hey, it's fantasy. I don't care if you get 1 yard for the 59 minutes of the game, as long as you get the 88 yard the last minute of the game. That doesn't matter. He still saved you a day. The number's looking really bloated because of that game, but if you look at him in Michigan State, he was a beast. His first carry at Michigan State was a touchdown. I mean, he's got 23 rushes this year for 146 yards. It's a 6.3 yard average and a touchdown. He's averaging 22 fantasy points a game. Yes, because of that big breakout. But look at Seattle, a team that we thought, okay, he's not going to be good because they're going to be down a lot. Oh, it's going to be, crappy in Seattle. They're not going to have an offense. They're not going to know what they're doing. Yet Geno Smith's leading a top 5. Top 5 offense? Am I right? And you're plugging in Ken Walker there. You're plugging in an RB1 second round pick. You don't pick a guy in a second round running back wise and say, hey, we're going to start DJ Dallas and, Homer over you guys, and then we're going to see how it goes. No, you got him because you knew this was going to happen. Seattle consciously, you don't sign Penny because you're like, okay, let's see how this guy does. And now going into free agency, he's injured. You've got a reason to be, hey, Ken Walker, we spent the draft capital on you guys, or on you. This is it. And against the Cardinals, what other team do you want to go against and do this? It's a great matchup. DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, Geno Smith, Kenneth Walker, all very good starting running back or starting players to start for them. But I think Kenneth Walker is going to have the best day. I think volume-wise, he's going to see at least 15 carries. His receiving game is good. I'm looking at maybe 6-7 catches. Overall, I expect him to be kind of down in this game a little bit. And I know he's been working on his receiving skills. I know I've said that specifically because I've watched many times in the offseason the hand drills, the receiver drills for Ken Walker. I see a nice one-handed snag. This guy's got hands. And I think they're going to show today why they took him so high, why they took him. I feel like they would have taken him over Breece Hall because they fit his scheme better. And I think Ken Walker comes out, gives you that, like I said, 4 or 5 catches in the backfield, 15, 16 carries out of the backfield, and give me 80 yards. And give me the 1.5 total touchdowns, because I feel like it's going to be a shit show. Sorry for the language. But I think it's just going to be like that, goal line rush and then some nice little screen pass. They want to get him involved. Rashad Penny blew the doors off teams when he was playing 100-plus yard rushing. He's got that burst of speed. Kenneth Walker's got that speed. He used the Naismith Player of the Year for the best running back. Mm-hmm. I mean, Breece Hall didn't win that, and he scored 23 touchdowns straight. So, I think Ken Walker's got that dog in him, and I think Seattle, this is a good – and I know losing Penny is bad because it's a team to depth. They have a good record. But Penny starts a new regime for Geno Smith where it's wow, I can dump him off the ball. Kind of I'm going to get a lot of heat from you, Alvin Kamara-esque back. Not a guy who's a workhorse, but a guy who can get you 15 or 20 carries on a light day, 5-6 catches, and put up 23 carries for 100 yards and 60 yards receiving. Not this week, but I think going forward, he's a great guy to do that. And I think even this week, he'll come out and shoot over his expectation of, 13, 12 points in standard and PPR. This guy's going to be a stud. Top 20 play, borderline top 15 play.
I like it.
It's Ken Walker.
Yep. Like we said at the top, the Seattle Seahawks can throw the ball as well. Like
As anyone in the league.
You're not going to try to take one away or the other. You got to play against the whole offense.
Yeah.
That only spells production for Kenny Walker. So listen to the man.
It's
4
the
and
rise
5
of
last
Skywalker.
week. It's the rise of the Bearish Bomber. Let's
Come on.
go. Let's go. Should
Broncos
I start?
country. Let's ride.
That's right. I can't believe he does that after a loss, man. It blows my mind. Like
the internet has a great. The internet is undefeated with that stuff. It is
so
amazing.
Should I start a limited Pitts or a Hayden Hurst full PPR?
First of all, Naismith is a college basketball, so I looked really dumb. Oh, that's gonna be the biggest L of my life.
Make sure we clip that one right there.
Don't clip it, but you can go ahead and clip it. Second of all, Hayden Hurst over Kyle Pitts. I think Hayden Hurst is a very underrated tight end this year and a very, very underutilized tight end. Scored a touchdown on Thursday night. He was really good. Kyle Pitts is, I hate to say it, Frankie's starting to look right with this Kyle Pitts stuff. I don't know what he saw that I didn't see, but I guess
he needs Desmond Ridder so bad that it's unbelievable, man. It's unbelievable. So yeah, start Hayden Hurst over the limited Pitts this week. Let's get into our wide receiver start. For me this week, it's none other than Jacoby Myers of the New England Patriots versus the Cleveland Browns. Myers' last 2 starts, he is averaging 10.5 targets, 8 receptions, 103 yards, and half a touchdown. He has been dealing with a little bit of a knee issue that had him limited all week. But when he is in the game, he is the Patriots' top option at wide receiver, averaging 14.2 fantasy points per game in half-point PPR with only 1 TD to his name. He is a top 10 wide receiver in fantasy points scored per week on average. So, I mean, I think he's wide receiver 8 overall on the year.
Balling.
So he's having a day. He's become almost quarterback proof for the New England Patriots. His ops today is the Cleveland Browns, where we have seen Robbie Anderson go for 102 yards, Garrett Wilson go off for 102 yards, and we said Deontay Johnson hit that 84 mark. Also, Mike Williams had that big day, 134 yards. So 4 out of the 5 weeks, the wide receiver has been absolutely eating against the Cleveland Browns. That puts him at about 17th against the wide receivers so far. So they're middle of the pack versus the wideouts. Like I said, QB proof. He's had Mac Jones, Brian Hoyer. He caught his first TD pass this year off Bailey Zappi. He's wide receiver 1. Most likely a waiver claim this past week. Jacoby has the potential to be a league winner based on his 30% target share on an offense that is run first. 4th highest wide receiver in target share, 3rd in yards run per route. It's a tongue twister, that one. He will mostly see Greg Newsome, the Browns slot cornerback, who in the season so far is allowing a 61% catch rate and a 98.5 passer rating. So targeting the guy, the wide receivers, and the quarterbacks have been pretty good. My projection on the week, 6 catches, 90 yards, and he gets a touchdown. So a solid wide receiver 1 week for Jacoby Myers versus the Cleveland Browns. You start the guy. He is the clear-cut wide receiver 1 for the New England Patriots. So yeah, you're firing up Jacoby Myers without hesitation.
Yeah,
he was
the babies.
Yeah, exactly. Nelson Aguilar is out. Devontae Parker's there, but Devontae Parker is non-existent when Jacoby Myers is in the game. He's creating separation. He's getting open. He's the first read. He is pretty much what it looks like to be the only read with that target share for the New England Patriots there. So fire up Jacoby, fire up Ramondre this week for the New England Patriots. Steph, give him the wide receiver sit of the week, brother.
Oh, this one's a rough one. This is going to be the one that I don't like to do, but in this business, you got to do what you got to do. You got to bench the guys you got to bench, and there's a reason for that. And when I look at it, George Pickens, I like it, buddy. I do. I really, really do. And this is not like it's funny because like you chose Najee, I chose George Pickens, you chose Geno, I chose Kenneth Walker. We're not making this up. We just choose the guys we choose to sit and start. I think George Pickens is one of those guys. It's like the hype is getting to him where everyone wants to start him. It's like, oh, George Pickens, 10 points last week in PPR. You're going against the Bucs. You're going against the best receiving defense, in the league, really. You look at Deontay Johnson's the only guy on that team I think is going to have any value. You look at Naji Harris, Warren, Pickens might have a few catches, but don't expect the guy to put you up a floor. 15 points, no. 12 points, no. 10 points, I don't even think he's good enough for that. I feel like this game is going to be a blowout for the Bucs. They are going to play down. If he does get a garbage time touchdown, does this really count? Like if he goes, 20-yard touchdown pass, and George Pickens ends up with a 15-point day, it does save you, but I think this game is a blowout game. I think Tampa goes in there after last week almost losing to the Falcons, and that stuff Devin White said, when you're winning, you just start to get bored, you start to just blah blah blah. No. They're gonna come in there. Todd Bowles is pissed. Todd Bowles is like, listen, they made a muck of us. Tom Brady does not like to be in a position where they question if it's a good win. Like, no, okay, wow. Watch me come out, no Minkah Fitzpatrick. I'm going to blow these guys up, and I'm going to come back to Tampa to my empty house that looks just like this in the back. Tom Brady's house is just as empty as this is. So he's a man on a mission and has nothing to lose. And historically plays really good against the Pittsburgh Steelers. And historically, the Pittsburgh Steelers don't play well against him. So which is why I'm benching George Pickens. I love the hype on him, but it's just a little too early. It's not his moment to shine just yet. So bench him. George Pickens, I expect 3 to 4 catches, 30, maybe 40 yards, and 0.2 touchdowns.
There it is.
It's a great defense.
Yeah.
I can't make it any simpler than that.
Yep. You heard it here. Sit George Pickens. Don't chase the points from previous weeks. Always play the matchups when it comes, especially to the wide receiver position there. Tight end sit of the week. We mentioned him a little bit earlier there. It's Kyle Pitts of the Atlanta Falcons versus the San Francisco 49ers. It's been a tough outing for a player, most likely drafted as the third option at the position, right behind Travis Kelce and Mark Andrews, respectively. This isn't the bounce back week for the second-year tight end. The 49ers have been absolutely shutting down opposing tight ends, allowing an average of 2 fantasy points 4 on the season. Good enough for a tie for first with the Bills against the tight ends. So the San Francisco 49ers have been absolutely shutting down tight ends. The first 2 weeks we saw tight ends versus the 49ers score a combined 1 fantasy point. Through 3 weeks, they scored a combined 2 fantasy points. Through the first 5 weeks of the NFL season, tight ends have only scored a combined 13 fantasy points. Pitts is a unicorn, as most would label him, as a dynasty asset. You're absolutely holding on to the kid. Yep. And you might say he lines up mostly as a wide receiver for the Atlanta Falcons, which is proven to be true. But, well, just like the play against the tight ends, the 49ers have been just as good against the wide receiver, where they are the 8th best defense versus opposing wideouts. So it's not a spot where you want to start Kyle Pitts. We mentioned it. I think it was either the Twitter space. I think it was the Twitter space where we were talking about Kyle Pitts and how much the game plan, the scheme of the Atlanta Falcons hampers his production, because the Atlanta Falcons run their offense through Marcus Mariota with those RPO plays. They are a RPO heavy team, which limits the production of their wide receivers and their tight ends and overall their passing attack. If you're a Kyle Pitts holder, I mean, you're going to be trading him at a decreased value just based on his output. What you're really hoping for right now is and we mentioned it, the Desmond Ridder start.
Yeah.
With Desmond Ridder coming in, it takes away that RPO amount of plays run that the Atlanta Falcons are going to use against opposing teams. They are going to eventually throw the ball a bit more, which will lead to more production for Kyle Pitts. So this week, you're sitting him against the 49ers just based on the matchup. The matchup absolutely sucks. So, yeah, to be blunt about it, it sucks. It's not a great matchup. You're sitting Kyle Pitts, and you're having another stream option. Projection, 3 for 30, no touchdowns. I got him catching 3 passes on the week. So, not a good outlet. Yeah, not a good start him if you're facing Steph or myself. Sit him anywhere else you got him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you want to start him against us, right? You want your opponents to start him against us.
Yeah.
Yeah, right? Start him.
I won't start the next guy I'm going to tell you to start. That's for damn sure.
Who is that next guy?
It's just a guy that just
a guy.
Listen, he's a good friend of mine. He's done good things for me. He's done good things for everybody.
Is it Mark Andrews?
But listen, it's like, I love you, but George Kittle, my man, my boy, my amigo, what happened? Where you been? What, like 11 catches? He's tied for 120th in the league in 11 catches. Wow. He has 99 yards, tied for 126th. He's got 0 touchdown. He's tied for 91st and a 9-yard average, tied for 100. So he is a top 150 player, right? Right? Yeah. Numbers say that. Mm-hmm. Because he's been injured. He's been hurt. Come on. Like, this is George freaking Kittle. It's not Kyle Pitts. The Kyle Pitts took his freaking unicorn help. The thing I was like, I don't want to be a unicorn anymore. I want to be a receiver. What happened to the last guy? I want to be the receiver. Jimmy Graham. What happened to him? Hey,
Jimmy Graham no more.
Jimmy Graham no mas.
Jimmy Graham no mas.
I think George Kittle it's that injury. It's that lack of chemistry with Jimmy G. I think this year that's the reason he's not doing good. I looked at last week. He looked better. It could be that weird helmet he's got on or something, but I think George Kittle and Jimmy Garoppolo this week made it a point to be, hey, listen, man, how you feeling? You good? Yeah, Kittle's 2-3 weeks out of the injury. He started off really, really slow. I think it's 6 weeks in. He's cleared it last week. I can see it. The production, his snap percentage, his routes run, everything was better. Of course, he is a pure blocking tight end, but I expect a bounce back game from Kittle, especially against your weak sit in Kyle Pitts because they're playing against each other. Yeah. I just feel like he's going to have the better day. I think he's going to have a top 7, maybe top 5. I'd say top 7 because that's still startable. Top 7 is great to have.
Yep. And
George Kittle is actually going to be back on the incline. I don't think he's been on a decline anymore. A lot of guys started the season where it was just nothing but crap, and it was just like, oh my God, what are you doing? You're ruining my team. Then things start to change. The tides start to change. The players start to wake up. George Kittle is that guy. He's in a good offense, a good passing offense. Deebo Samuel's not doing much either. Ayuk isn't doing much. So that whole offense passing wise isn't like blowing the roof off everybody. It's the run game, but I think George Kittle comes back. And he understands, listen, if they're going to do well, if they're going to score points, they're going to beat the Falcons, you got to go through George Kittle, Deebo Samuel, and Ayuk. And George Kittle is your safety blanket. He's a tight end up the middle, 5-6 catches up the middle for a first down here and there. That's a good fantasy day. I expect 5 to 6 catches, 50 to 60 yards, and give me the touchdown. Give me the coveted touchdown that he finally has been just robbed of. Your guy, Jacoby Myers, has gone how long without a touchdown? We were last year.
We had the countdown.
Yeah, last year we were like, how many days since an accident? How many days since Jacoby Myers touchdown? George Kittle's days are numbered, and their time's running out today. If you didn't get George Kittle, it's going to be the time to get him because you have until 1 o'clock. I always say it. You have till 1 to get the guy I'm telling you to get. And if you didn't get Alvin Kamara last week, shame on you. If you don't get George Kittle this week, shame on you. He's going to come out and prove why he is George Kittle.
There you go.
Give me him in all my lineups. DFS, he's probably cheap too.
Yep. I love it. I love it. Falcons, 27th ranked team versus the tight ends this year. So the tight ends have been producing against the Atlanta Falcons. Only 1 touchdown scored against the Falcons for the tight ends. Do you know who it is? If you had to guess who the lone touchdown scorer tight end versus the Falcons this year.
Okay. They played the Saints.
Yep. Saints, Rams, Seahawks, Browns, and Bucks.
It's got to be. Tell you the Saints. Taysom Hill.
No. Will Disley.
I knew it. I knew it. I was gonna.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I was like, is it Will Disley? I was literally looking at Will Disley's numbers yesterday. I'm like, this guy's a stud.
Yeah.
Oh,
Will
that was my
Disley.
sec-
The Saints did score. The tight end did score a touchdown versus the Falcons, but it was a rushing touchdown, not a receiving touchdown. So Taysom Hill did get a touchdown, but it was rushing. Yeah, okay, I'll give it to you.
Okay.
I'll give it to you.
I was rushing.
I maybe worded it wrong. I should have said
it's all you.
receiving
It's all your
touchdown.
fault. It's never me.
Yeah, I'll take it. I'll take it. Okay, our week 6 team defense start of the week. This is tied in to Stefan's great analysis on why you should sit Russell Wilson. And my team DST start of the week is the Los Angeles Chargers versus the Denver Broncos. It's a pretty easy one. 4 of the 5 teams playing the Broncos this week have put up double-digit fantasy points for team DSTs. Against the Broncos are averaging 10 fantasy points. The only one team didn't put up double-digit points, but they still put up 9 that week. So another solid week for your team defenses. Over the last 3 weeks, teams are averaging 13.6 fantasy points for. I mean, that's a pretty solid outing for your team defense starts on the week. Broncos have allowed the 7th most sacks on the season. I think that number sits at about 16. Russ has been okay protecting the ball, only throwing 3 interceptions. But they got Mel Gordon still back there, who's good for at least 2 fumbles a game. We've seen that. The Denver Broncos haven't been producing at an elite level.
Really?
We did see the Cleveland Browns put up some big numbers against the Chargers last week, but I'm not nervous. I think with the amount of sacks and the potential for interceptions and fumbles and defensive TDs, the Los Angeles Chargers are a smash start against the Denver Broncos this week. And what team DST are we sitting, Steph?
I'll give you 13 other teams to start over this team today.
I like it.
13 different defenses you could start over Buffalo. 13 reasons.
I like the spot, though. I like it. I like that spot.
I mean, if you look at it, though, why would you start a team that you know is going to be in a shootout with one of the greatest quarterbacks in history, one of the best tight ends to ever touch the field? I mean, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Diggs, Kelsey. You got this screams like a 70-point game, right?
Yep.
It screams the over. This screams like big plays.
Points. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, like so. Why even? Why? Okay, I get it. Bills are good. They have that defense, but numbers lie. Numbers will lie sometimes. You know why? Because you have Mahomes throwing 50-yard tutties to Travis Kelsey, and you've got freaking Juju Smith-Schuster, they're non-existent. You got everyone else on the Chiefs team catching balls, and they can catch and scoring touchdowns. The Bills, same thing, scoring touchdowns. Once Josh Allen scores a touchdown, Mahomes is like, all right, watch this. Mahomes scores, Josh Allen, watch this. It's gonna be.
I cannot watch this game.
Listen, I got this adrenaline rush from college basketball football last night, like that Tennessee game, and then the Utah beating USC game. Like these games, I'm like, oh my God, this is giving me life. And I'm looking at the schedule for today. I'm like, what's the one game I know is going to hit? It's the over in the Buffalo, Kansas City game, because both teams might have good defenses against anyone else, but when they play each other, it's lights,
points, baby,
camera, it's gunfire, it's fireworks, it's everything. That's why you won't start this defense. You start the Chargers defense, like my smart host is saying, because Broncos country, let's ride. No, they're gonna come in there with fire extinguishers, putting out the fire that's all over Denver. You know, all the weed leaves, everyone's getting high off their own supply now because Russell Wilson's cooking up freaking losses and Geno Smith's cooking up dubs and a quarterback one season. And listen, back to my point, the Bills, not it this week. Bills going forward, yes. Bills against the Chiefs, never start them.
Yep. There it is.
I don't want to give you numbers. It's just Bills, Chiefs. What do you expect?
Yeah, no, it's a great It's a great sit. I mean, it's a great sit this week, especially for a team defense that has been at the top of the league for the first 5 weeks. The Buffalo Bills. You don't want to drop them, right? You don't want to have to drop them to pick up someone else. If you have another option there to drop, you pick up, and then you stream Buffalo the rest of the way. But great option there. I love it. Just a little tidbits here. Marvin Jones Jr. is out for the Jacksonville Jaguars. T. Higgins has been seen doing his normal warm-up routines. So make sure that you proceed with caution with T. Higgins. I'm not sure I'm starting him this week.
Tyler boy. I messed up.
Why?
I should have taken Tyler Boyd. Okay, listen, real quick. This is like a spot, real quick start. Start Tyler Boyd.
There it is.
That's it. I'm not gonna tell you why. Just start Tyler Boyd. Receiver 3 flex. Start Tyler Boyd.
There you go. You love to hear it. Love to hear it. Jacoby Myers is expected to play, so we already mentioned that. I believe that's it for us. Head over to the uSTADIUM Twitter. I believe there's a Twitter space as well, 12-1 with Solo on there. Frankie, I believe, hops on there as well sometimes. Another great week of insight from us to you. Good luck on your weeks. We are brought to you by the uSTADIUM app. Make sure you're downloading that app, liking the stream, subscribing to the channel. It helps us help you win your weeks, size up your rings, engrave those trophies with your name on it. Talk all that smack to your friends. Love to see it there, Stefan, with the rings. Like my chips with the dip. That's it for us. Stefan, let them know where they can find you, brother.
Week in, week out, you know where to find me. The Bearish Bombs I've made it everywhere, so you just look me up, you'll find me. You can DM me. You're pissed at me because I lost you a game. I won you a game. You can send me money. You can do whatever you want. You can subscribe to us. Just come back every week. Listen to us. Let us help you. When you get that ring, you get that trophy, just come back and say, hey, thank you. That's it. That's all. I just want you guys to win.
That's it.
I want to win. I want you guys to win. That's all it is.
That's what we're here for, baby. That's what we're here for.
To this day.
Enjoy the week. Week 6 is upon us. Good luck.